Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, parents, grandparents, family, and friends of the young men we see before us today. It is my pleasure to declare the 120th commencement exercises at Fort Union Military Academy to be convened. At this time, the Academy's chaplain, James Benson, will deliver our invocation.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, this day is an answer to hopes and dreams, an answer to much hard work, and an answer to so many, many prayers. As we reflect over what has been accomplished, we offer thanks to those who, with you, have made it all possible. Father, today we thank parents, teachers, friends, and family who along the path at Fort Union and elsewhere have challenged us to do our best and encouraged us onward when our own confidence was failing. Now in this hour of commencement, raise our spirits, make our joy more joyful and our happiness more complete. Almighty God, bless us this morning with your presence and the assurance of good things yet to come. In Christ's name, amen.
At this time, the 380th Army Band will lead us in the national anthem. At the conclusion of the anthem, you may be seated. You may be seated. We'll now recognize a group of young men who have achieved great success in our classrooms. They've studied long hours, spent countless evenings toiling during our study hall period, and have done a magnificent job. And they've got a bright future in front of them. Gentlemen, as I call your names, I ask that you stand and turn and face your families, and all remain standing until the last name is called. We'll begin with our salutatorian, Du Zhang. Du Zhang is the son of Mr. Daeguan Zhang of Changshu, China, and Mrs. Chang Fu of Changshu, China. Du has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.439. He's the president of the Global Citizens Club, the parliamentarian of the National Honor Society, secretary of the Interact Club, a former member of the Retan Rifles, and the Cadet Personnel Officer. He's also an honor graduate and is this year's Salutatorian. His plan next fall is to attend the University of California, San Diego. Congratulations, Du. We'll now recognize our honor graduates. William Richard Ebright is the son of Mr. and Mrs. James Ebright of Charleston, West Virginia. William has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.841. He plans to attend UNC Wilmington this fall. Andrew Philip Estes is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Phil Estes of Palmyra, Virginia. Andrew has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.186. He plans to do missionary work in Costa Rica this fall. John Trahan Graves Marchand is the son of Miss Janine Marchand of Arlington, Virginia. John has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.557. He plans to attend Virginia Military Institute this fall. Joshua James Enriquez is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Miguel Enriquez of West Nyack, New York. Joshua has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.581. He plans to attend the United States Air Force Academy this fall. Jonathan Adamaligan Ilori is the son of Mr. and Mrs. David Ilori of Chesterfield, Virginia. Jonathan has been in attendance for 7 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.256. He plans to attend Texas A&M University this fall. Logan Michael Justice is the son of Mr. and Mrs. John Justice of Lewis, Delaware. Logan has been in attendance for 7 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.167. He plans to attend Towson University this fall. Samuel Jones Marinacci is the son of Miss Carolyn Jones of New York, New York. Samuel has been in attendance for 4 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.712. He plans to attend East Carolina University this fall. Hayden Thomas Miles is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Eric Miles of Palmyra, Virginia. Hayden has been in attendance for 4 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.925. He plans to attend Virginia Tech this fall. Zachary Ellis Miller is the son of Miss Karen Miller of Lake Anna, Virginia. Zachary has been in attendance for 7 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.833. He plans to attend Limestone College this fall. William Humphrey Pissot is the son of Miss Mary Jane Pissot of Alexandria, Virginia. William has been in attendance for 4 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.384. He plans to attend Wake Forest University this fall. Gavin Curtis Powell is the son of Miss Ruth Gus and Mr. David Powell of Troy, Virginia. Gavin has been in attendance for 4 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.829. He plans to attend Farron College this fall. Seth Stewart Robinson is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Chris Robinson of Lexington, North Carolina. Seth has been in attendance for 3 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.083. He plans to attend Appalachian State University this fall. Alex Marcel Thomas Jr. is the grandson of Miss Althea Glover of Birmingham, Alabama. Alex has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.683. He plans to attend Georgia State University this fall. Luke James Wilson is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Mike Wilson of Louisa, Virginia. Luke has been in attendance for 3 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.067. He plans to attend New Mexico State University this fall. Du Zhang is the son of Mr. Dehua Zhang and Ms. Chang Fu of Changshu, China. Du has been in attendance for 5 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 4.439. He plans to attend the University of California at San Diego this fall. And Julian Damon Yescas is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Alejandro Yescas of Miami, Florida. Julian has been in attendance for 7 years and has accumulated a grade point average of 3.670. He plans to attend Lynn University this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, our honor graduates. Gentlemen, you may take your seats. This time, it's my pleasure to introduce the chairperson of our Board of Trustees, Ms. Paige Pruitt.
morning. What a beautiful day. We are truly blessed to be here today to celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2018. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's valedictorian, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Joshua James Enriquez. You heard all about him when he was introduced as an honor graduate a few moments ago. But in addition to those things, he is President and Sergeant at Arms for the Honor Council and was best cadet in his sophomore and junior year. Last year, he earned the coveted President's Award and Sneed Alumni Award. Josh's extracurricular activities include soccer, indoor track, outdoor track, wrestling, and orienteering. He is a member of the Interact Club with over 75 hours of community service and was a member of the debate team and was an international mentor. Josh was accepted to both the United States Coast Guard Academy and the United States Air Force Academy, along with a number of other selected universities. And as you heard, and while it breaks the President's heart, Cadet Enriquez has chosen to attend the Air Force Academy, fulfilling a lifelong childhood dream. Ladies and gentlemen, I present our valedictorian, Josh Enriquez.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the faculty and staff who have supported me along the way. Distinguished guests, Rear Admiral Burho, and most importantly, my brothers in the class of 2018, we made it. Before I begin, I have to thank somebody who doesn't get enough praise, and that is Du Xiang, X-I-A-N-G. Still working on his last name. We call him Richard. While I'm valedictorian, he as Salutatorian doesn't get the equal praise that he deserves. Due recognition. He's the only cadet here with the perfect unweighted GPA. That's because he didn't take all honors classes, but he has a perfect A's in every class, which I can't say. Also, his speech yesterday was phenomenal, so it's hard to follow. But I've yet to thank my family. My parents, as I'm sure you all can relate, have been pivotal in me finishing this journey. I couldn't possibly put into words the gratitude I have for my parents and my brothers. You're all blessings in my life. I can already say that this graduation is better than my middle school graduation because my brother Seth is here. For those of you who don't know, my middle school graduation was slightly overshadowed by the fact that while I was graduating, my brother was at home getting stabbed. And I feel like that probably won't happen here. Also, I have to take time to thank the people who have guided my journey. First is Colonel Feathers. The power combination of him and Colonel Blanchetti provided an amazing blend of leadership that exposed me to a whole new world and changed me from a sloppy middle schooler to a sloppy alumni. I'm kidding, we're not alumni yet. I also have to add Miss Payne, because she has been amazing for all of us in these seats in terms of college guidance. Major Lyden, I don't even know where to begin. I really owe you endless thanks. Without you, I have no idea where I'd be going next year. You helped develop what Colonel Feathers and Blanchetti started in me. You're an amazing role model in my life, and your family has been amazing to me. Thank you. Colonel Mensch, who over the past 2 years has had a great influence over me, whether it be through coaching or class. Your knowledge and wisdom is very important for young men our age, and I'm thankful I was able to have you twice as a teacher. Not so thankful for the 87 in honors physics, but we can talk about that another time. To my fellow graduates, the majority of us have been here through a lot of stuff. 3 commandants. I still feel weird when Colonel Williamson is taking pictures. That used to be the commandant. Anyway, fellas, I believe honestly that we are superior to our peers in other schooling scenarios. The situations that we have gone through here are more difficult than any public school student could imagine. We're a different breed. Throughout our time here, we have all faced hardships, and more often than not, we turn to one of our brothers down the hall for support. The support came in many ways. Could have been making fun of the person who needed help, but nonetheless, in the end, we could count on each other and help one another. FUMA may have been difficult for us at times, but we could still crack jokes and at the end of the day have a laugh. The most valuable thing that I've learned from you all and from this school is that any situation, no matter how challenging, can be confronted and viewed in a positive light. Since the beginning of this journey, we have lost many classmates, either from not re-enrolling or from foolish actions. I hope that we remember mistakes made and that there are consequences behind our actions. Take the lessons we've learned and become men of integrity. We will always have a lifelong brotherhood. We may not necessarily see each other or talk often, but the unspoken bond between us will live on into eternity. I pray for each of us that we always remember the times we've faced here, good and bad. I hope that we become men who make our school proud. I hope we all develop into men who live according to the new covenant that is with Jesus Christ. I want to leave you with a quote of C.S. Lewis from his book, Mere Christianity. As long as you are proud, you cannot know God. A proud man is always looking down on things and people. And of course, as long as you are looking down, you cannot see something that is above you. May we never lose faith in God, but let Him bless our lives with success and humility. Thank you.
Thank you, Cadet Enriquez. We now turn our attention once again to the 380th Army Band, who will lead us in our traditional Patriotic Medley, where we will recognize current and former members of each of our armed services. We invite you to stand when your service song is played. And I would point out that joining the band today is one of our own graduates who has enlisted in the Army Reserves and has qualified to play in this band, Cadet Eric Friedlander. Ladies and gentlemen, the 380th Army Band.
service medley, but also for saving the best song for last. It's now my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Jon Copper, from the class of 2004. Following a remarkable year at Fort Union Military Academy, Cadet Copper continued his journey, proving himself by earning a walk-on spot at the University of Virginia football team. Redshirting his freshman year and excelling on special teams the following year, he earned a scholarship. Unknown to the University of Virginia, after awarding Jon with a scholarship, they now had a true anchor on their defensive front. As a starting linebacker for the remainder of his career, Jon would lead the Cavaliers in tackles for the next 3 seasons. The first player to achieve such remarkable success in over 30 years. A staple on the football field and a staple in his congregation, Jon was a member of the FCA, and young life ultimately culminating with a degree in religion, focusing in Christianity. Today, in addition to founding a marketing agency, Flourish Digital, with his wife Megan, he's also the 7th generation of owners agents of Hankel Citizens Insurance in Charlottesville. Jon currently lives in Charlottesville with his wife Megan and their 2-year-old daughter Ellie. Please welcome today's speaker, Mr. Jon Copper.
I distinctly remember the first time I understood football, but for the life of me, I can't remember anything that my Fort Union commencement speaker said during graduation. I'll blame the latter on the former. After having been hit in the head over 100,000 times playing football, I think I have some reasonable excuse there, possibly. But I first started playing football in the 3rd grade. I was timid. After the first couple of practices, my mom pulled me aside and basically explained to me that I was going to get hurt if I didn't hit people, and that she was going to pull me off the team if I refused to hit people. So driving to the next practice, I grew up playing with Brio train, these little wooden train pieces that you put together, so trains were on my mind a lot as a kid. And she said, "Jon, imagine yourself as a steam engine, as a locomotive every time you go to hit somebody." And I'll say that 3rd or so practice, that clicked. And by the end of the week, or the end of we had a little tryout because we had 2 teams that were being formed. I was known by the other players and the coaches as a hitter. So that was the first time I understood football. I bring that up because most of my life, most of the next 16 years after 3rd grade was consumed with athletics and football, and it was through that that I learned a lot of things. It was through that I learned humility. It was through that I learned perspective and what's important in life. It was through that I learned how to pray. But what you don't see is all of the things that go behind the scenes. I was fortunate enough to play in 51 consecutive games in college, over 2,500 plays. So, but what you don't see is all that goes into that. So as a part of that, I just wrote down some of those things that maybe folks would remember, and maybe folks wouldn't remember. In 2005, we had the opportunity to play Florida State University at UVA. They were ranked 4th or 5th, I forget, and led by another FUMA alum, Marcus Hagans, who scored a few touchdowns that night. We upset Florida State in a night game. That was a memorable moment. Maybe some of you, if you're an ACC fan or UVA fan, remember that. The other one was Miami, my junior year. We went down to the Orange Bowl and played the last game in the Orange Bowl and gave Miami their worst shutout loss that they've ever had, 48-0. So there were a couple memorable moments, but I'll tell you that most of my career is not memorable, and here are some of those things. I spent over 1,200 hours. That's over 50 24-hour days or 150 work days on the practice field. I spent over 1,500 hours, that's 63 days or over 180 work days, in meetings. I spent over 18 hours watching film. I spent 450 hours running, just running. So Forrest Gump, didn't like that. Spent over 1,000 hours in the weight room. I spent over 1,300 hours in the training room. So that's 52 24-hour days in a training room, on the table, in the cold tub, something like that. Now, it wasn't all bad. I had 125 hours of massage therapy, so that was 3 full days of that during the course of my career, but I also had over 500 chiropractic visits, 500 x-rays, 6 MRIs, 3 CT scans. So those are just a few of the things. And then eating, I spent over 7,300 hours either shopping, preparing, or eating meals.
That's over a year of 24-hour days during my 5-year career at UVA. I also spent over 650 hours in sub-60-degree water, cold tank. So all of that was for 233 minutes, less than 4 hours of whistle to whistle. Calculations I did that for every one play I played in college, there were 10 hours of preparation. And those 10 hours of preparation, nobody sees. Those are moments that we look at as insignificant. But I would contend to you today, especially the senior class, the class of 2018, that every moment in your life is significant. It's been orchestrated. There's intent and there is purpose behind it. There is the common, I think, belief in our society is often that things are random, they are chance. And I'm here to tell you that things are not random, they are not chance. Or we attribute it to something like the universe. As one poet recently said, he said the universe doesn't control anything, God controls the universe. So there is purpose, there is intent to what has happened in your life and what is going to happen in your life. One of those significant moments that I remember, it was my junior year. I also wrestled in high school. We were wrestling in one of the larger tournaments in our area, the Salem Ironman. We had gone back and forth the whole tournament with our rival, Wauwatosa High School. And by the end of the tournament, the finals, I wrestled heavyweight. I was the last match of the night. We were down by 3. And if I won, our team won. And if I lost, our team lost. And going into that match, I was wrestling somebody who had placed in state the year prior. And for all you wrestlers out there, he liked to throw, specifically head and arm. And so we had a plan. Heavyweights usually don't like to get picked up. So my plan was to shoot on him and pick him up. So we started the match about 20 seconds in, and I shot in, picked him up right to his back, put in a half Nelson, and pinned him with 59 seconds into the match, and we won. And that was one of the first more significant moments that I remember in my athletic career, but that's not why I bring that story up. Why I bring that story up is because it came out in the paper, it was front page of the Roanoke Times in the sports section the next day, but my father, that afternoon, I was going back to high school to pick up my car because I rode the bus over to the tournament, and my dad just caught me. He was always looking for opportune times to teach me things, and he asked me a question. He said, let me ask you something. He said, if you saw a turtle on a fence post, what would you say? Thought for a second. I said, well, I guess I would ask who put it there. And my dad said, son, you're a turtle on a fence post. I said, okay. And that's something that stuck with me. You will have significant moments in your life, all of you, some of you more than others. But if you remember that all of those things are a gift, that all of those things that led up to this are a gift. I didn't choose to live in the only country that plays American football. I didn't choose the parents that I had that nurtured and brought me up and gave me those opportunities. I didn't choose my older brother who chose a passion for football and then through unforeseen circumstances transferred to a high school where I'd actually have an opportunity to play after high school. All of those things were outside of my control, but they led to the career that I was able to have. Another person that I met later that year, everybody knows who Michael Vick is, NFL quarterback for Virginia Tech. Most people don't know, well, maybe a few Hokie fans do. The guy that backed him up, his name was Dave Meyer. And Dave Meyer, when he was in and out of the NFL, he could have played anywhere else in college had he not backed up Michael Vick, but he had that's what happened. That was his lot. So after finishing college, he spent a couple years in and out of the NFL. He backed up a guy named Brett Favre at Green Bay, and then backed up another guy named Peyton Manning at Indianapolis. So both years he got cut. They don't need a whole lot of backup quarterbacks from those teams. But when he wasn't on the teams, when he got cut, he would coach and teach at my high school. And Dave could have just focused on what he was doing with his career, which was his training and getting better and his workouts and tryouts. But instead of just doing that, he did that. He also gave ear to any of the kids in the class and any of the folks that would give him an ear. And Dave took an interest in me and spent a lot of time with me. And one of the things that Dave taught me that is stuck, he said to grow where you're planted. And that was something that I took to heart because I saw Dave embody that. You know, there are going to be so many times in your life that you're going to look around you and look at the things that you currently find yourself in, whether it's the school you're on, or the school you're attending, or the sports team that you're on, or once you get into marriage, or the job that you have and the career that you have, and you're going to wonder if you're in the right place. And I would encourage you during those times to grow where you're planted, to remember all of the things that you did not choose that have led you to that point, and grow where you're planted. The next year, my spring here at Fort Union, I would often go on weekends on UVA leave down to, or on weekend leave down to UVA to spring football practice. And there's just another, most people would see it as an insignificant moment outside of a locker room. I was talking with a guy that was trying out for the NFL. He had just finished his career. And he just shared something with me that stuck with me. I don't remember much of all that conversation except this. He said, John, as you get started here, the most important thing will most likely be the guy lacing up his cleats next to you. And I would just encourage you, again, charge you guys as you go out into your next chapter that you'll have, whether it's basic training or ROTC, or you're in a military academy, your school, or your sports team that you're playing, or it might be your engineering class, and then later on, as you go on in your career and whatever you have next, that the most important thing is not necessarily that objective, that achievement that you're reaching for, but the most important thing is the guy that's lacing up his cleats next to you. And these stories about football and about my life, they're not unique. Every one of you, I think of a verse in Ephesians. It says that we are God's handiwork. We are His masterpiece, and He has prepared good works for us to do in advance. That each one of you will have courses in your life, your hobbies, your career, your military, your sports endeavors that will intersect with other individuals. And I would just encourage you that God is at work in all of those things. In closing, I would just say, I don't remember what was said at my graduation. I do remember who said it. Reverend Fuller was a prominent pastor in my hometown in Roanoke. After he retired, I ended up being able to spend some time with him after my years in college were done. But he also, Reverend Fuller, mentored a young lawyer in Roanoke named Mike. And that was actually one of my main connections back to Reverend Fuller. But Mike took an interest in me, and we spent a lot of time together. And I didn't know at the time, but a few years after starting to spend a lot of time with Mike, I was introduced to who is now my wife in his living room. So all of these things, they're orchestrated with purpose, with intent. And I just want to thank the Admiral for having me come speak, and for your 7 years of service. And I would just charge again the class of 2018, just as we believe the best days of this academy are ahead, that your best days are ahead. I encourage you to consider the grand conspiracy that's led you to this point and to your future. Remember the sacrifices of those who have given you this opportunity. And I encourage you to go in humility, that in your best moments, you're a turtle on the fence post. And the thing that you need to remember the most as you go through your next chapter is that the most important thing is the man lacing up his cleats next to you. Thank you.
Now the moment we've been waiting for. We will now present the certificates of honor to the postgraduate class of 2018.
Wavon, Dean, Blackwood, Laurel, Maryland. Luke Thomas Brennigan, Taylor, South Carolina. John William Brown, Tucker, Georgia. Lloyd Alvin Bryan Jr., Cheltenham, Maryland. Joshua James Kaufman, Crozet, Virginia.
Jeffrey Paul Corser II, Charlotte, North Carolina. Keyshawn Dante Curry, Jacksonville, Florida. Patrick Lewis Dorsey, Raleigh, North Carolina. Chad Gatlin Dreswick, Flemington, New Jersey. Jacob Hans Groff, Columbia, Virginia. Worthy Amaku, Abuja, Nigeria. Christopher Dwayne Sampson, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. John Declan Scully, Easton, Connecticut. Theodore Maxwell Stewart, Charlottesville, Virginia. James O'Neill Taylor, South Chesterfield, Virginia. Kieran Joseph Turner, Woodbridge, Virginia. Jacob Zachary Watkins, Gainesville, Florida. Andrew Maurice Ziegler, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Ladies and gentlemen, the postgraduate class of 2018. We will now present the diplomas to the graduating seniors of the class of 2018.
Peter Charles Awad, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Abin Bola, Olawaho, Banjoko, Richmond Hill, Georgia. Yanhao Bao, Nanqing, China. Philip Moses Barrow III, Oak Ridge, North Carolina. Matthew Armando Bazan, Orlando, Florida. Blake Edward Bernstein, Bethesda, Maryland. Dalton Gray Clark, Louisa, Virginia. Kyle Peter Close, Raleigh, North Carolina. Thomas Bryce Cullum, Franklin, Tennessee. Michael Anthony Cunningham III, Carrollton, Virginia. Hugh Don Dow, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Kyle Henry DeGarmo, Lansdowne, Virginia. Nathan Michael Disprode, Richmond, Virginia. Caleb St. Clair Dressler, Troy, Virginia. Harrison Cole Drumheller, Franklin, Virginia. William Richard Ebright, Charleston, West Virginia. Miles Giovanni English, Washington, D.C. Andrew Philip Estes, Elmira, Virginia. Debruba and Yalawa Etta, Silver Spring, Maryland. Nicholas Brian Farrar, Orange, Virginia. Jackson Buchanan Ferrier, Cary, North Carolina. Eric John Freelander, Reston, Virginia. Anthony Gemma III, York, Pennsylvania. John Trajan Graves Marchand, Arlington, Virginia. David Jackson Greenspan, Fort Union, Virginia. Joshua James Enriquez, West New York. Jacob Vladen Kirshner, Norfolk, Virginia. Henry Winston Percival Hosking, Vienna, Virginia. Jonathan Adamalagan Ilori, Colonial Heights, Virginia. Logan Michael Justice, Lewis, Delaware. Maurice Corey, Georgia. Brendan Cooper Limher, Elmira, Virginia. Yulian Li, Beijing, China. Brent Thomas Lowry, Palmyra, Virginia. Abel Lozagiet, Alexandria, Virginia. Samuel John Marinacci, New York, New York. Malcolm Xavier Downs Meade, Washington, D.C. Hunter William McBride, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Paul Douglas McCoy, Preston, Virginia. Charles Robert McGregor III, Charlotte, North Carolina. Kate Thomas Miles, Palmyra, Virginia. Zachary Ellis Miller, Fort Union, Virginia. William Cooper Minor, Williamsburg, Virginia. Justin Andrew Morgan, Fresh Meadows, New York. William Humphrey Tissot, Alexandria, Virginia. John Russell McCorney, Southern Shores, North Carolina. Gavin Curtis Powell, Troy, Virginia. Chandler Austin Ragland, Keswick, Virginia. Colton Whitman Ramsey, Sykesville, Maryland. Seth Stewart Robinson, Lexington, North Carolina. Mark Elliott Shantz, McLean, Virginia. Alec William Schlink, Powhatan, Virginia. Nathaniel Lee Strickland, Fort Union, Virginia. Derek Jeffrey Teeter, Williamsburg, Virginia. Alex Marcel Thomas Jr., Birmingham. Edward Ragland Thomas V, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Reynolds Craig Walbrook Jr., Glendale, Maryland. Franklin O'Brien Wallace, Alexandria, Virginia. Seth Isaiah Williams, Durham, North Carolina. Luke James Wilson, Louisa, Virginia. Du Zhang, Changshu, China. Anan Yan, Chengdu, China. Julian Damon Yeskis, Miami, Florida. Xichang Zhang, Beijing, China. Huyan Zhao, Tianjin, China.
Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating seniors of the class of 2018. Will now lead us in our benediction.
Group Sidewalk Prophets has a song called The Words I Would Say. Before I close our benediction, I would offer these words as advice for the class of 2018. Be strong in the Lord and never give up hope. You're going to do great things. We already know. God has got his hand on you, so don't live life in fear. Forgive and forget, but don't forget why you're here. Take your time and pray. These are the words that I would say. Now for our benediction. Please rise for our benediction. Remain standing through taps. Please bow your heads. And now, as God taught Moses to bless the children of God, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Blessings to all gathered here today. In the name of the Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In the name of Jesus Christ, and by his blood we pray. God's people said. Amen.
So by the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees, yes, I declare this session closed. You may throw your hats into the air.